Just like there was with informative speeches, there's lots of different types of persuasive speeches that we could potentially give, because there's a couple different goals that we could have as persuasive speakers. The first type of speech that we could give is the fact speech. And in a fact speech, we are setting out to argue the truth or falsity of an assertion. So, we are trying to influence someone's beliefs. We are trying to get them to believe something or to stop believing something. As an example, we could give a speech about whether aliens exist. And in this case, you are going to be taking a position as to whether or not aliens exist. So you're either going to say, yes, aliens do exist, and here's the evidence as to why, or no, aliens don't exist, and here's the evidence as to why. You have to take a really clear position so that your audience knows what they should believe by the end of your speech. We could also give a value speech. And in this case, you are going to be advocating some sort of judgment claim. So you're going to be saying that something is good or bad, or maybe that it's just or unjust, moral, immoral, right, wrong, those various different value claims that we have talked about previously. For example, you might say that censorship is a good practice, and you would give evidence saying why censorship is actually a good thing in some cases. Alternatively, you could say that censorship is a bad practice and tell your audience why that we shouldn't censor anyone and we should let everyone have their say. You have to decide which value you're going to be going for and find the evidence that backs that up so that your audience knows whether something is good or bad by the end of your speech. But these two are really good goals to have in a persuasive speech. But most of you are going to be doing what we call a policy speech. And this is a statement about the nature of a problem and that problem's solution. So you're going to be talking about things that are happening in the real world that are problematic and what we can do to fix those problems. So for example, you might give a speech that the United States should stop capital punishment. In other words, that we should get rid of the death penalty, right? And so you would argue why the death penalty is a bad idea, that it costs too much money, that there's the risk of killing the innocent, all of these different things. And you're trying to influence your audience's beliefs, attitudes, values, and behaviors all in one with this policy speech. And there's a couple different goals that you can have when you're giving a policy speech. You could look for passive agreement from your audience. So in this case, you're simply trying to get them to believe that, yeah, we should stop capital punishment in the United States. Sure, that sounds reasonable, right? I understand where you're coming from. That's what passive agreement is. It's just your audience saying, yeah, I can see your argument. However, if you are going for immediate action, you are trying to get your audience to do something to fix this problem. For example, you could ask them to write to their representative to advocate for the abolishment of the death penalty. Or maybe you could have them sign a petition or donate to the Innocence Project, or a number of different things that they can do here in the moment. And this is something that I'm going to be looking for in the persuasive speeches. Is there something that we as audience members can do to solve this problem? Because what you don't want to do is present a problem to the audience and say, okay, that's it. I don't have a solution. There's nothing that you specifically can do about it, because that leaves the audience feeling kind of hopeless. So having this immediate action, having this solution that the audience can take part in, is going to leave the audience much more satisfied and feel like they can actually potentially make a difference. So those are the different types of persuasive speeches that you can give, and some of the different goals that we have when we are giving those persuasive speeches.